Prince Harry is in danger of following in the lifestyle footsteps of his great-great-uncle King Edward VIII, warns royal author Tom Quinn. Mr. Quinn told the podcast on Monday that the Duke could be heading for a very sad life. He said, "I think the real danger of Harry's behavior is that Harry will end up like that, Edward VIII. Harry, doesn't really have a role in the royal family because he's the spare as it were, rather than the heir." The royal author went on to explain their opinion. "It's very much like his great-great-uncle Edward VIII after he abdicated with Mrs Simpson. He thought he would have a role, but suddenly he found he had nothing to do and the rest of his life was just, spent moving around the world with actually very little to do. He couldn't get a job and the British government wouldn't give him a job and he was no longer king. So it was a very sad life." Edward VIII reigned as the British monarch from 20 January, the 11th of December 1936. His reign lasted for just under a year, making it one of the shortest reigns in British history at just 326 days. His abdication of the throne was a result of his love for and wish to marry Wallis Simpson, a soon-to-be divorced American woman. Edward realized he had to choose between the crown and Mrs Simpson who, as a twice-divorced woman, would not have been an acceptable queen. His time on the throne came to an abrupt end on December 11, 1936, sparking a major constitutional crisis for the royal family. Edward was stripped of his Royal Highness status and henceforth styled as the Duke of Windsor. During World War II, Edward was stationed as a Major General in France. However, he was later appointed Governor of the Bahamas. After the war, Edward spent the rest of his life in France, essentially in retirement as the Duke never held another official role. Despite speculation over a potential government job, nothing ever materialized. To pass the time, Edward wrote books and became an avid gardener. But by most accounts, the Duke deeply yearned to do something more. Prince Harry first met Meghan Markle in 2016 through a mutual friend. Just over a year later, they announced their engagement. The couple hit it off straight away. In their first sit-down interview with the BBC after their announcement, Meghan said, "We met for a drink and then I think very quickly into that we said, well, what are we doing tomorrow? We should meet again." Millions of people tuned in for the royal wedding at Windsor Castle in 2018. Talking about their relationship, Mr. Quinn said, Meghan Markle, really was the first person who absolutely dazzled him. I think, he's just been completely swept up in that. And he will do, in the nicest way, whatever Meghan wants. She's taken him out of this fairly boring, they are quite boring for someone who's young, because, if you're Prince Harry growing up, you can't do what you like. Because you're constantly pestered by the paparazzi and you've never had a normal life where you're under this pressure. So Meghan was like a door opening and going through that into the sunlit uplands, where everything would be different. He could have fun without all the criticism, as well as, of course, being completely madly in love with Meghan. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex carried out royal engagements as a couple until they stepped down from the firm in 2020. The Windsors agreed to let them pursue their own private business arrangements, provided that they cease using the word royal in any professional branding. Since Harry and wife Meghan Markle quit as senior royals and started a new life in California in 2020, the prince has only returned to Britain twice. Both of those times he came alone with Meghan staying at home with son Archie, who also hasn't returned to the UK since moving to the US. Meanwhile, the couple's 8-month-old daughter Lilibet, who was born in California, has never been to Britain, nor has she met her great-grandmother the Queen or grandfather Prince Charles.